Right, yeah. I think we're gonna gotta do a Patrice O'Neill binge. It's been ages since we've done Patrice. But this actually come from comments. Someone said in comments, do Patrice, yeah, and Alex Jones. This is an interesting combo, Patrice, because I know Patrice likes a conspiracy too, but yeah, this is definitely gonna be a yeah. As soon as I saw Patrice and Alex Jones, I thought, gotta watch. Yeah, we gotta do that. But yeah, also after this, I'm gonna do a Patrice binge, I think, and go digging for Patrice. But yeah, um, yeah, let's go.
We're live, my friends. It is September 10th, 2010. We've got a very well-known comedian who's done HBO specials, you name it, who's been on the broadcast before, Patrice O'Neill, coming up in the next segment for the balance of the hour. He's got a lot of courage. He's questioned President Obama. He has questioned 9/11. He's a listener of the broadcast. Patrice O'Neill coming up. We'll talk about a host of issues, including the big Ground Zero mosque diversion, the burn the Koran situation. We'll talk about all of it with Patrice O'Neill. In the second and third hour, we're going to go through a lot of big developments concerning the inside job that was 9/11 9 years ago. The, of course, 9th anniversary of 9/11 is tomorrow. The police state news I have today is incredible as well. I remember seeing Homeland Security head Ridge, 7 years ago, say that they would have basically the same type of checkpoints in shopping malls, trains, buses, and on highways that they have in airports. That's just there to train you to submit to tyranny. And here it is out of NBC, Philadelphia, random pat-downs turned Patco into police state. That's the Philadelphia headline out of NBC, not Alex Jones. And the police are quoted as saying, we can do anything we want. We can strip search you. We can do anything we want. And we are going to. This is the new America. Has nothing to do with terrorism. And here's a key article by Kurt Nimmo today up on Infowars.com. Hamilton and Keene call for domestic terrorism agency for domestic terror groups. And, of course, over 90% of the funding and training has nothing to do with turbaned-wearing men in Central Asia. It's all for gun owners, libertarians, conservatives, anti-war activists, basically anybody that isn't controlled by the false left-right two-party system. So the domestic Gestapo now being publicly announced. And a federal court has ruled that citizens can be secretly arrested, tortured, disappeared. So 100% official Nazi Germany or Soviet Russia announcements being made. Now, let's see them try to actually carry it out. But this is a rogue criminal government run by private corporations that have already stolen tens of trillions of dollars in the last 2 years, and they're just getting started. So all of that is coming up. And dealing with the economy, a lot of really important news on that front. It's now begun. They're now having treasury sales, and record numbers of people and governments and institutions are refusing to buy them. So the Federal Reserve is having to buy treasury notes basically from itself. Treasuries tumble following weak 30-year sale of 30-year bonds. Geithner says China needs to let market drive up the yuan. We'll go through all of that economic news as well today. And again, we have other news articles saying, well, it is a recovery for the banks. They're making record profits, but everybody else overall is losing money, losing their jobs, having their pay being cut. They're underemployed. Unemployment, of course, is surging. And that's even with the government's cooked numbers that they're using. A lot of folks are calling and emailing saying, where have I been the last 3 days? Conspiracy Theory, Jesse Ventura's Conspiracy Theory television show, second season coming up in October. I'm a consultant and also appear in the show, and I can't really talk about what we discovered in Georgia or in Louisiana, but I'll just leave it at that. I've been on a secret mission the last 3 days with Jesse Ventura. He is such a great guy and is really, really getting fully educated about the New World Order.
I watched Predator the other day. He's in that. Like, he was like a wrestler or something. Before, unless it's a different, that's what I was thinking at the time. Unless it's a different one, but I'm sure he's the huge guy in Predator.
Let's leave it at that. But coming up in October, before the show kicks off, you'll hear all the exclusives here on this radio broadcast with Jesse Ventura. He may even come into town and be in studio with us ahead of the television show coming up in about a month and a half. But they're still out there investigating all over the United States and even other places. So I've been out of town. I appreciate Paul Joseph Watson filling in for 2 days. We're back live on this Friday edition, and coming up this Sunday, I'll be live 4 to 6 p.m. for the abbreviated Sunday transmission. Patrice O'Neal. On the other side of this quick break, I'm Alex Jones. GCNlive.com is the network website. Stay with us. All right, coming up in the second, third hour, we're getting into the 10th anniversary or 9th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. I'm going to get into the economy, incredible police state developments as well. But in this first hour, Patrice O'Neal is in studio with us. He's a very successful stand-up comedian, radio personality, and actor. He's been on a number of comedy specials, Showtime, HBO, Comedy Central Presents, in addition to guest appearance on television shows such as The Late Night with David Letterman, and on and on. Ellen DeGeneres Show, The Office. His stand-up comedy focuses on topics such as American politics, race and race relations, sexuality, and censorship. He is also a regular visitor of the Opie and Anthony program on XM Radio. Patrice is currently on tour and will be performing this Friday and Saturday night here in Austin, Texas, where we're based at the Cap City Comedy Club. So if it isn't already sold out, you can probably get down there and see him tonight and tomorrow. Patrice O'Neal, good to have you here in studio with us.
Thank you, sir. How you doing, man?
It's awesome. It's good to have you here. I mean, I had seen you on television a few times before, but then I had seen some clips and heard some clips of you on the Opie and Anthony show that reaches millions and millions of people. And you were, very early on, right when the Obama deception came out, when Obama was still like God, you were saying people need to see this Obama deception, and you were saying, hey, this shatters the left-right paradigm. And they were saying, what, Patrice, you support Bush?
Look, you can't. I think there's an instinct to people who believe in New World Order and globalization. There's an instinct. You don't have to be informed to have that instinct. It's like when I first saw, after the family came out, I had a heartwarming feeling just to see the black family come out, and you go, wow, man, I'm alive to see that. But then they see the faces, and you see these faces, and you go, man, something's wrong. Like, you just have an instinct, like, why am I not as happy as I should be right now? That's the New World Order instinct. Then you go and you find certain things out. So I was I think I was on like 50cent.com. 50cent.com. 50 Cent has his this is 50. So you had the Obama deception thing right there as I'm watching something on 50, and I looked at it, man, and I'm like, I can't be an honest human being if I don't feel like this is touching on something. And I had the instinct of all of that, but that particular film opened me up to the whole thing. And the one thing, if I have to pick out one thing that got me going, was the fact that the Federal Reserve Bank is private-owned company. That, on the lowest levels, I have never gotten past that. If there's the eugenics and the globalization and all of this stuff, and out of everything that got me going and keeps my mind in that direction, is that the Federal Reserve is a private-owned company.
I wonder why 50 Cent linked to the movie. Maybe he's awake.
This is 50s.com is where I saw the link to the Obama deception, and it it brought me in a direction that
it's got KRS-One and of course Professor Griffin.
Professor Griffin's in that, and KRS has always been into that. But the thing is, I noticed something about it. I'm a comedian. When I first got into it, heavy, you stop being funny. You really do. You just, nothing's funny. So I had to kind of chill out for a second and figure out how to be funny, back to being funny again, and then still throwing it out to people, because at the level you are, I watch the website and watch all the films. At the level you're at, it scares the death out of the average person who even might be, eugenics is the highest level.
Well, exactly. That's what happens to me. I'm working all the time, and so I'm usually not freaked out or scared. But then when I take off a few days or get away from the radio or don't, read the news, driving into work this morning, I wouldn't even call it scared, just more freaked out, realizing this is real. I mean, I was on the airplane flying back from New Orleans yesterday from doing a investigation and shoot with Jesse Ventura, and I was asked by a man on the plane next to me and a woman next to me, both separately were listeners, and they said, is this real for you or is this entertainment? And I said, well, wait a minute. Everything we talk about is on the record. Of course this is real. Of course this is real. But getting back to eugenics, now, I saw them build up Obama as our savior, and they were going to try to push their agenda. They took a step with their left foot. Now they're getting ready with the right wing and Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin to take a step with their right foot. And so now I was called a communist when I didn't like Bush. Now I've been called a right-winger because I don't like Obama, and now I'm getting ready to be called a commie again because now I've got to swing my guns over onto Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin.
But I think the plan was not, I think Obama was supposed to be in office for 8 years. I think the thing that destroyed the Obama plan, I think, is racism. I think white people's, the average white person who's not into the New World or they're into just regular politics, I think they just they can't take having a black boss for 8 years. And I think that ruined the higher ups plan to have him kind of have this feel of warm, we're all together.
Yeah, this feel good, and then
I think the average, like, I don't even know who to say the average white person, but people are starting tea parties and starting these things that's from 1712. I think I mean, look, I'm not stupid, you know what I mean? It's like, don't lie to me about it not being racial when you start a tea party and you out of nowhere, it's a 2-year movement out of nowhere when the president's black. If we're into, like, if you're in the New World Order, this is not, it don't matter black, white. That's why it's like, if you're into that, you just go, I don't care what color the president is, because it's all foul. But the average person who's just in the Republican and Democrats, I think there's a racial element to this country that can't take another 4 years of Obama. It's just not going to happen.
Well, I think what added to that, too, though, is the government-run health care and all these other big moves. But I do think that is an element to it. The
average person knows, Alex, that's what I'm saying. I'm out here, and I believe in the Bilderbergs. I believe in the Bohemian Grove. I believe it all. But the problem is, I look at, and don't take this wrong, many listeners. I look at Hitler, okay, and I go, if I'm a crazy guy and I go, I hate Jews, I want them all dead. Do you blame me as much as you blame the 50,000 people that I convince to shoot Jews in the head in the middle of the street? I don't like the people that go, okay, I'll just shoot people in the head. I've run into so many people who are willing to kill other people or kill themselves, really. They don't even know they're killing themselves on behalf of the Illuminati, the CFR, these people who we look at it like they're evil. Yeah, we get they're evil, but don't help them. Don't help cut my head off and cut your head off.
Oh, that's a good point. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has now ruled citizens can be secretly arrested. People can be tortured. They don't need warrants. And this is all for the American people, regardless of what color you are.
Right.
But just like with Hitler, he sold it with an unpopular minority first, but really it was for everybody. So these idiots that go along with this, they need to know that they're in the crosshairs as well.
They just go along. I pay my electric bill every 3-4 months. I pay it when I get a threatening letter. I just forget. This time around, somebody came to my house to cut it off, and he goes, look, you're going to give me a check, or I'm going to cut your electricity off. I go, look, man, I'm going to pay it online or whatever. He's like, look, this is my job. I'm going to cut it off. I go,
Wait to back to a girl threatening letter. I've had them threatening letters. Yeah.
if I had somebody in here who could die without the electricity, you know what I mean? And he just did this. He just went, that's my job. I go, your job is you think that you love your family. by killing my family. Like, meaning something could be happening. Nothing is, but I'm just on a dramatic level, because then I got on the phone and the woman said, well, if your kid was on a respirator, we would tell you should have thought of that before you didn't pay your bill. And I go, are you serious? My bill was $800. You think people got $800 just to pay? You think everybody's trying to scam you? Your job is to hear me beg for my life, and you go, sorry, sir. So do you think that you could go home and love your family the way you think you love them if you could kill my family?
Patrice, that's a key point you made. You're talking about the Nuremberg defense, where these tens of thousands of Nazis said, hey, I was just following orders, and the court ruled no. If you're doing something immoral or murderous or illegal, it doesn't matter if a tyrant's telling you it's okay. You just can't abdicate all of your responsibility over to, I'm just doing my job.
It doesn't sit right to me. So as I've gotten into more and more, enlightenment about a lot of these things that these people up top are doing, and I believe they're doing, the problem is, how do you communicate that? It's shocking to me if you say it to an average person that doesn't know how much they don't want to hear it. How much they don't care. How much even I go, go to the supermarket, right? There's 10 aisles, but there's only one person working, and the rest is you're checking out yourself. Like, there's no more people doing jobs that you go, wait a minute, there's no more tellers. There's just one person taking, and
down the road, what are the jobs going to be able to have money to even buy the food?
That's what's killing me. It's like, wait a minute. If you're treating me like a robot, what they're doing is they're setting you up to get me used to dealing with robots, because you're not being a person right now. You're being they're tricking me. It's not tricking, because what they're doing is getting rid of your job, because you cost them money. So a big business, why would I pay you if you're gonna get my $800? Why do I want to pay out the $800 that I'm giving you to a person that's working? They're trying to figure out how to get rid of you, and you're just helping. Oh, it's just my job. It's not going to be your job.
No, absolutely. You're hitting on the key here. We're being deindustrialized.
It's crazy listening to this. I wasn't into conspiracies at this point. I was way too young in 2010 to even care. Do you know what I mean? I was a kid, but yeah. It's crazy to see how the world is now, because I remember watching things. Maybe I would have been into conspiracies, actually. But anyway, I remember watching conspiracy things, and like Patrice is saying in that the bit that you really need to focus on when telling people things is the Federal Reserve thing, or the Bank of England, how it's a scam, how it's lending money off of a company that they're putting that print money. It's a crazy system. You can get, but when you start going into you can start going into the aliens and, like you said, eugenics and this and that. But I remember watching all the different conspiracy things, and it kind of gets to a point where you just don't know. Like Patrice says, you have the feeling of, yes, there's something in all of this, but it's too much information. It's too much weeding through, and this thing counteracts this thing. But then as time's gone on, things have played out. Like, for example, I remember watching a conspiracy thing about that at one point in the future, what the elite want to do is have a sickness come around, and you have to have an injection. In that injection will be a microchip that will chip you like the mark of the beast. But that was kind of like one of many different things that you hear, and I gave no more credit to that than I did any of the other things. But when I actually saw the COVID play out, I was like, wow. I saw like someone literally predict that that's what the elite would want. And look at it now. There are people still, not many, not many. I think most people ain't going to get a jab now, and I don't think that whole thing's going to work again. I think they had their shot at it, but oh, maybe because people are dumb. But um, I don't know about the microchipping, but I remember when the COVID thing come around, and they'll say, because I remember saying people saying you're going to get chipped, and people saying, well, why would anyone sign up to get chipped? And they're like, no, you won't. Like people saying we'll just resist it, and they're like, you won't. You will willingly apply for it because it will be in the form of a vaccination to save your life, and you'll willingly sign up. I remember all of these conspiracy theories, and yeah, and COVID was like, wow, wow, because I think a lot of people as well that weren't conspiracy theorists before COVID, a lot of people went at first believed it, but after a while, I think even the most take like for example my dad. My dad's the most non-conspiracy theory person ever, but even him at the when COVID was going on, like Patrice says, you just have a gut feeling that you think this isn't right. Something is going on. Like, and I don't. That's why I don't like to get into watching conspiracy things, because I don't know what that thing is, and I don't think anyone really can predict it. But yeah, I think a lot of people during COVID was thinking this is something going on. So I'd love to have heard Patrice's take on COVID. But hearing them talk about that and him talk about eugenics. Now you talk about eugenics, look at the LGBTQ movement where they're giving children surgery things that sterilizes them. They're literally sterilizing a generation by either, do you know what I mean, cutting their things out and doing. So they have kind of done this, yeah, weird euthanize. Yeah, is it euthanizing of the public through, yeah, through the LGBTQ thing? That's the craziest thing, that them procedures that they're doing are sterilizing people, like, which is literally what Patrice is talking about. So you can see that people was thinking that way then, but it just, no one quite knew which way it was, how it was going to be offered. And like I remember hearing, you're gonna request to get all of it. Like you're gonna request to get all of the stuff that they're gonna do. And so far people have really. But yeah, hold on 2 secs. Yeah, let's carry on. Let's go.
We're being turned into biological androids, and we had better have an awakening to even salvage some of our humanity. And to do that, we've got to all come together against the eugenics. We'll be right back with Patrice O'Neal. Stay with us. Patrice O'Neal is our guest. We do have Richard Gage with huge bombshell breaking information. They had a press conference at the National Press Club with former Senator Gravel. Key information coming up in the first 30 minutes of the third hour with Richard Gage, the head of architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth. Less than 24 hours from the 9th year anniversary of the tragic attacks that have been used to butcher our liberties and freedoms and launch all these illegal wars. That is coming up. Now, Patrice, you were trying to get into eugenics before the break cut you off. You were saying that that's the ultimate level, and I agree with you, and they play us off against each other. They're dehumanizing us. They're deindustrializing us to make us dependent on the system. But the end game is forced population reduction.
It's the high. I'm laughing, right? Because as a newbie to it, I mean, I would say the last 2 or 3 years, it's shocking, man. That I think that's eugenics is the most difficult to digest out of any of it. I think the fact that there might be some people that are trying to kill human beings, I think is the hardest thing for people to believe. But as you open it, and what I like about your films is this: you don't just. It's easy to go, tell this guy's crazy, but you give you give things in your movies that say, okay, go to HR this and go to executive order that, and it's difficult to deal with HR 1000 because it's crazy. So a lot of times I got to take your word for it with that HR or the executive order stuff because it's so. It's a Bible's worth of stuff you got to read through. But that's the thing I like about watching your films is that it's brought me here. It all does come together.
Well, when we show a bill, when we show a bill or executive order, though, we zoom in on the subsection. I mean, here's an example. The last 3 weeks, we have written article after article with direct links to the Rockefeller Foundation. And they're just like 20-page documents. You can read them where they say we're going to develop vaccines that reduce fertility. And they even talk about, so we don't sterilize everybody because then people would notice that.
Right.
We just hurt a certain amount of people.
That no one cares about. Start with Africa. Easy to do. A lot of poor people, nobody cares.
Well, see, you bring up race. And I will say most libertarians, most patriots that I know, the media would call right-wing, are not racist. But they do understand that there are elements and that the Republicans have taken over the Tea Party and are basically putting out code words, but at the same time denying it. But here's another issue. The ultimate racist are the so-called liberals on the top, because when you actually read their writings, 80 years ago, they said, we've got to pose as liberals so the blacks trust us. And then you see the result, 51, let me ask you this, 51% of black people since Roe v. Wade have been killed before they're born. And then you go talk to the average black folks, they'll defend abortion like it's some liberal right. And I go, really? Liberal right to kill 51% of the black people?
This is Alex, this is the game. This is the problem. Okay, I'm just now.
On this point, like I said before, the giving transgender things is sterilizing people. Like they said, the abortion thing, and it affects the black community the most. But then also look at the music that's the most successful and the most promoted. It's the most violent. Chicago drill has changed the world. Everywhere you go, whether it's Australia, anywhere, they have postcode wars like Chicago. Like, it's the exact same thing. Everybody copies Chicago. And so many people have died in this country, all around the world. And that was the music that the mainstream wanted to, or basically gave to the world. Another avenue of killing off people. Literally, Chicago drill has affected the whole world. It's in this country. Every major city in this country has the same drill mentality. Australia, like literally everywhere. Like, yeah. And that's what I mean. There's so many different ways to kill people off. Yeah.
Looking at the Constitution. I tell you who got me looking at the Constitution was Aaron Russo. When he's like, democracy is that thing where he says two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. It changed my life. I think that's the most amazing quote I've ever heard that puts democracy in perspective.
It's Thomas Jefferson originally.
Well, that I heard from him.
Yeah.
I gave him but I'm looking at the Constitution, and for some reason, growing up black with just being black, the Constitution is poison words for black people because we feel we're not involved in it anyway. But the idea of what freedom of the press and then freedom to carry arms, why it's important, and this is easy, is because it's to protect us from a dictator. It's separation of state. When Bush took over the separation of not separation of state, but separation of
church and state.
No, the powers of the
separation of powers.
Yes,
you got it.
The House of Representatives and the president,
yeah,
to protect us from a dictator. And all these things are trying to be destroyed so that a dictator can come right in and take over. But black people somehow in the system of just regular government, we feel ostracized from these words. We like even the crazy, what black people call the crazy crackers in the hills that say, we gonna kill you if you come on my property. Black people automatically think those people are crazy, but those people are the revolutionaries of our time. They live how the people who freed the country from England live. They think like that. But to a black person, whatever the news thing does, it makes us think that those people are insane and out to get me. That's the game they play, so that black people don't get deep into the New World Order. Because
it's another divide and conquer.
It's a divide and conquer thing.
Well, stay there. We're going to break. Long segment. Let's pick up where you left it. Patrice O'Neal is our guest. PatriceO'Neal.com. He's going to be...
And you don't get more divide and conquer than what the world is at the moment, which is identity politics. That is what governs everything. Depending on what group you belong to, yeah, it means blah, 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 blah. And it is just another way to get groups of people to fight amongst themselves and not realize that you're being completely controlled and manipulated from people above. But yeah.
Cap City Comedy Club tonight and tomorrow. Hurry and get tickets because it's probably going to sell out here in Austin, Texas. You can find out where else he's going to be appearing around the country. Also at PatriceO'Neal.com. I'm Alex Jones. The websites are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. Stay with us. Well, we're having a very informative discussion with Patrice O'Neal. We're going to be going back to him in just a moment. You know, we ended that special a few days ago where you got 5 films for $9.95. We sold out of all those documentaries. We have a few hundred of each just to fill mail orders for those. But we have a new special that's only going to run for a couple of weeks. You know, the Obama deception, we sold out of that. We've now gotten a few thousand more of these in. And when these are gone, it's over. The Obama deception that really shatters the left-right paradigm. And you may be awake, but as your neighbor, or your friends, as your boss, or your employees, as your church, they need to see this film. Republicans watch it because they hate Obama, and then they see the film and it exposes Bush and the whole New World Order. Democrats watch it because they think, oh, they're going to see some, right-wing disinfo piece, and they find out that it's a much larger paradigm. And that's what we're doing, is getting people outside the box. You can get this film, $19.95, and get a $24.95 book free, Jesse Ventura's America.
It is crazy how politicized the world has become in a very short space of time. Like, growing up, no one cared. Not your parents, your grandparents. No one cared. Now, everybody cares. Everybody cares. And like I said, you pick a side, and people put their political side above family, above friendship, above... yeah, everything. Like, people will cut off family members if they don't agree with them politically. That's happened in such a short space of time that it's crazy.
And conspiracies. He covers everything in this book. It's very well written, a very easy read, a great gift to give someone. Read it yourself and give it away. Get a free Jesse Ventura book, New York Times best-selling author, American Conspiracies, hardcover, free. So that is a $24.95 book, free, when you get the Obama deception. But these are going to sell out very quickly. The books are going to sell out very quickly. We've only got a few thousand of these and a few thousand of the Obama deception. When this is gone, it's gone. Infowars.com. And your purchase of the books and the videos makes this broadcast possible. We've got a lot of other specials where you buy a T-shirt and get a free ball cap, or buy one video, get another video free. It is your support of this show. Listen, I'm not getting $50 million or $40 million a year like Glenn Beck. I don't have Fox News behind me, okay? It's Alex Jones. I'm the guy that makes the decision on what computers to buy. I'm the guy that sometimes carries the trash out. I'm the guy that has to decide what furniture to get for the new studio. And I'm not complaining. It's just I could do so much more if I wasn't the guy that has to run it all. And if we had more support, I could do that. And we're really trying to hire a couple more people. We're trying to buy the equipment for the studio. So when you also purchase these great books and videos, it makes everything we do possible. So again, Infowars.com to get your free copy of American Conspiracy Theory when you get the Obama Deception. So you get the Obama Deception, get a free book, Infowars.com, or you can simply call toll-free 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139, or you can simply write to us at P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas 78760 to get your free copy of Jesse Ventura's American Conspiracies when you get a copy of the Obama Deception. But this great special isn't going to last long, so please take advantage of it. Going back to a very popular, nationally known comic.
Yeah, perfect. Stop there at 25. But yeah, I've never seen the Obama because, like I said, I went deep into conspiracy things. And it gets to just being like, it's like you become one of them people that dedicate your life to it, basically. And it's a choice of, do you want to spend your life doing that? But I more have that, like I can understand why someone like Alex Jones or someone basically promoting an ideology that's outside of the two political parties, because you cannot be either one now. Like, the mainstream media did not want to promote anything that was, contradicting that two-party, pick one side and die for it mentality. And it's never been more strong than now. Well, I say that. I mean, at one point, it's say like American history, but every history, at one point, people was killing each other. So, but I mean, yeah, I don't think. I think people are so, but that's why I think Trump is a. That's why they really didn't want him to be president. Why they put everything they could against him. Because I don't think he's part of their plan. I really don't. I think he is the thing that was never meant to happen. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, this has been fire. This has been fire. And like I say, it's very interesting to see, like, years on and how things have played out since this. There's so many things they're saying that you can see play out right before your very eyes. But yeah, I'll carry on tomorrow. But yeah, that's the reaction, sweet.